How are you guys doing? Hey, happy Thursday, eighth graders. I know that I apologize for not putting up a video yesterday, but let's dive into finishing up this unit. The last lesson in this unit is a composition transformation or more than one transformation. We talked about so far reflections and dilations. We talked about translation and dilation. So today we're going to finish up with rotation and dilations. All right, you have even practiced some on Delta Math of multiple transformations. I'm hoping that you're getting the idea of noticing if it's reflecting, if it's translating, if it's rotating, if it's dilating, and even being able to combine them, because there's a lot of different combinations. If we were still in school, I would have tried to complete this project where you would have designed your own picture, dilated it, reflected it, translated it, and we would have been able to put them up around our classroom. For now, let's just continue to knock out the understanding of it, and that way we could just get better at it. And I promise this is not the last time you're going to see this. I know when you get to high school next year, you might see it a little bit, but definitely when you become 10th graders, you're going to see it even more. So let's look at this last lesson, and that way we can complete it together, okay? So you should be looking at the same exact screen I am. It says turn dilation. The reason why it says turn dilation is because turning indicates rotation and dilation indicates the other operation, right, which is growing. So look at the bell word. It's giving us A and B, right? And I even put the rules for rotation there just in case you forgot. A tells you to take this point, A, and rotate it 90 degrees counterclockwise, right? After you rotate it 90 degrees counterclockwise, we should arrive at A prime, which is a new point. So take a second to see if you can complete A, and you also can complete B. If you need to, pause the video so you can give yourself a chance. That way I don't just give it away. All right, so let me go over with you, all right? We have this point 3, -5. They tell us to rotate 90 degrees counterclockwise. If you look at the chart, and if you remember when we did rotation in the last unit, we should be able to identify, okay, 90 degrees counterclockwise is right here. That's the same thing as 270 degrees clockwise. Luckily for you guys, in this worksheet, I only refer to counterclockwise rotations, as I think I did even in our last worksheets that we worked on in the last unit. Not that I can't refer to them as clockwise, it's just that it's more common for you to see it as counterclockwise rotations than you are to see it as clockwise rotations. And I know that seems backwards because we tell time in a clockwise motion. However, when we deal with this particular math and coordinate planes, most of the time it's dealing with counterclockwise rotations and a counterclockwise understanding. That's why even when you look at the quadrants, they are understood in the counterclockwise rotation. So the counterclockwise rule says we need to do -y, x. What does that mean? First, we're going to swap the x and the y, and then we're going to negate that y. That's now our first point. So for A, you should have arrived at the new point of 5. Oh, hold on, sorry. I got to put my marker on. Okay, should have arrived at the new point of 5, 3. Now notice that's a +5, not a -5. So I switched it, but because I did -5, 3, I needed to also negate that 5 in the front, that -5, and turn it into a +5. So A prime now is 5, 3, right? Our new image. Now keep in mind on Delta Math, which is how you're going to see it in the future, when you're doing more than one transformation, they normally don't break it up as A prime, A double prime. I'm doing it to walk you through the steps of understanding it. But I want you to know that in the future, if they actually do more than one transformation, they may ask you to tell me that A prime is both a rotation and a dilation all in one shot. Now I'm just breaking it down saying, let's make A prime the rotation. Let's make A double prime the dilation. Okay, so A prime we know is 5, 3. So if we take that and put it here for B, then it wants us to dilate this with a scale factor of 2. Now remember, scale factor is multiplication. So what they're really asking you to do here is multiply both the x and the y by 2. And the notation or the algebraic representation could be something like this. 2 times x and 2 times y. Okay? So if I were to multiply x, which now is 5, by 2, we would end up getting 10. If I were to take our new y, which is 3, and multiply it by our scale factor of 2, or 2 times y, 2 times 3, we would end up getting 6. So our new point for a prime is 5, 3, and our new point for a double prime is 10, 6. Okay, so this is how it would look if we did both of these. Now we're going to do this today, and I'm going to model it for you in another example in a second. But take a second, if you need to copy down these points or copy down the quick notation that I wrote there, please do so. All right, and I'm going to clear the text. Let's scroll down. Now what you're going to see when we scroll down is that this bell work that we just did is the first modeling problem that I'm asking you to do, which really isn't complicated because we just completed this, right? We just did this. Now the reason why I worded it again is because I want you also to get into the habit, and I said this in the last video, of also making the point on the actual coordinate plane. A lot of you guys are really good at identifying the points, whether rotation, translation, reflection, but you're not showing me them on the coordinate plane, which I need to see them there because I want you to get into the habit of, one, knowing where the points are, as well as seeing them as they're being rotated, reflected, translated, or even dilated. Okay, so first let me put A on the actual map. Now here it says 3, -5. A is 3, -5, so 3, -5 right here. That is our A. So we're gonna go down there, we're gonna make a little circle, we're gonna label that A. We know that A prime, as we just mentioned, right, that's -y, x when we do a 9 degrees counterclockwise rotation. That's -y, x, and you can always look at the chart above, right, which means that that would turn this into 5, 3, as we said before. And we also know that A double prime, as we said earlier, is 10, 6. So these are not new points. However, I do want to make sure I go and graph them so that way I see where they are. This is A prime, and if you don't label them and you just put the dots, it's the same as you not doing it, because I need to see the actual labels there to say, okay, oh, that's A prime, right? And then A double prime we know is 10, 6, and I'm hoping to get this right here. Okay, so now we have all three of those points graphed. We're done. We're not connecting the dots here. It's not a shape, which you'll see on Delta Math that I do ask you to dilate shapes, whether it's triangles, rectangles, or any type of polygon. Here, I want you to get into the habit of doing the actual correct notations of just point itself. Okay, so given the point B, which is 2, -8, they want you to do a dilation first. Read the rules, because if you just said, okay, I'm gonna rotate it this amount, I'm gonna dilate it this amount, make sure we're reading it. It says dilate B, a scale factor of 1/2. So that means I'm taking B, I'm gonna do a scale factor of 1/2. What does that mean? That means I'm multiplying the X by 1/2, I'm multiplying the Y by 1/2. So when we do 1/2 times 2, what do we get? We get 1. When we do 1/2 times -8, what do we get? We get -4. Okay? So our B prime is 1, -4. Let's also find B double prime before we go and put them on the actual grid. It's saying now we need to rotate B prime. So we're going to take this new point that we have, and we're going to rotate it 207 degrees counterclockwise. What does 270 degrees counterclockwise say? That says Y, -x, okay? Y, -x. So that means we're going to switch them, keep the Y the same, but in this case, we're going to negate the X. So it would look something like this, -4, -1. So now when we go to put these on the actual grid here, we're going to say, okay, well, let's start off with B. B itself was 2, -8, which is all the way down here. Okay, and now we got to find B prime, which is 1, -4, which is 1, oh, sorry, my B prime is a little weird looking, but it's there. And then finally B double prime, which is -4, -1, okay? And this is all that we're doing in this lesson. We are rotating and we're dilating, all right? You'll see that there is dilation here, there is a rotation that's happening here, right? But I'm looking for your points to be exactly plotted. So even if you put the right coordinates, I may not give you full credit. I may only give you half credit. I'm looking for them to be graphed in the right spot. So when I look at it, I can see the exact same pattern that should be on my worksheets. Okay. So please take a second, complete the actual practice problems that are listed for you. Resubmit them, and then what I'll do is make sure I give you a grade based on that. Okay. Thank you guys so much for doing all the work that you have been doing. I have not overlooked it. I have been grading. I know if you submitted things late, I'm not counting them as late, but I'm gonna go back and grade them. And just so everybody's aware, there is no fourth quarter grade, right? It's only quarter 1, quarter 2, and quarter 3, and your final grade will be an average of those 3 quarters. I'm going to adjust everybody's third quarter grade based on the work that you're completing right now. So essentially, I'm looking for seeing if you're completing the work from now on. And what I'm doing is I'm going back and I'm taking the average of what you see on Google Classroom. That average that you see is your grade. I'm taking that average, I'm adding it to the current average that was on quarter 3. I'm dividing them by 2, and that's going to be your new grade for quarter 3, which should help it ultimately, it should help everyone's grade to give you a great final grade for the fourth quarter, okay? For the end of the year period. All right, so please continue to complete assignments. I would love to see everybody have 100 on their Google Classroom assignments. And if you have 100, you can expect me to take that 100, add it to the actual average that you had for third quarter, divided by 2, and that'll boost your grade up significantly, all right? But please continue to work hard, continue to complete the assignments. I look forward to talking to you guys soon. Maybe what we could do is I'll take you guys on a field trip, which I know it sounds crazy, but what I'll do is still doing a video with you guys on Zoom, and I'll go somewhere, and maybe you could also go somewhere, and we can all be outside or do something together, which would be a pretty cool activity. Thank you guys so much. I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.